and they would train year round. I mean, there was no break in when they would come in, whether it was, their fall season when they were either playing high school or their annual, ECNL program all the way through. Like never missed a beat. Some would come in before practice. They definitely eliminate that stigma of like, I'm doing too much. I'm going to be too tired. I'm going to be too beat up. And it's like, no, if you train the body and you can adapt to these stressors, you can do it and you should be doing it.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the Strong Female Athlete Podcast. Just want to give a quick shout out to our official sponsor, Simply Faster, a company dedicated to better tools and better technology for athlete development. If you're serious about gaining speed and power, I highly recommend you check out their amazing products and technology that's really taking athletes and coaches to the next level. So be sure to check them out, and let's get into today's guest. Heather, welcome back to the show.
What's up? Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, I think you've been on maybe 3 or 4 times, and we've
Yeah.
been kind of following your journey with your like nutrition, and then also you're one of my favorite female athlete strength coaches. For those of you who don't know Heather, she works out at a really big facility in Ohio, and she works with a lot of female athletes from various sports, but also a lot of soccer girls, a lot of girls in the ECNL as well. And she does such amazing work with her athletes in season and off season. So we're going to talk about all that today. But Heather, I do want to do a catch up because I know the other times you've been on, we've been just talking about your nutrition journey and how you and I feel like we've cracked the code.
100%. Yep. I totally, yeah,
So still going well?
it's still going really well. I had some very big life changes recently where I easily could have just fallen back into the comfort zone and, back to that old style of eating that didn't make me feel great. But it was the one thing that I knew I could control. I think that from, a mental standpoint too, it helped me a lot. I'll say there was times where I would, go out to dinner or whatever, and I just indulge a little bit. But for the most part, I'd say 90% of the way that I was eating stayed the same throughout the last like 6 to 8 months when life was just a little crazy. And I recently started really training hard for the High Rocks events. I did one back in March and I did really well with not a lot of training. So that's been interesting to make sure I'm fueling properly, but still sticking to those foundational things that I've been doing for the last year and a half now. Um, because you need just a little bit more carbohydrate for some of the endurance stuff that we're doing. But honestly, like I've been always been eating like the jasmine rice and the sweet potatoes and stuff like that. And again, they're nice on my belly. But it definitely fuels those longer training sessions. But yeah, very still much meat forward, protein and fat. My staple right now is just steak, rice with some avocado. It's like almost either every day for lunch or every day for dinner. So yeah, we've been sticking to it.
I love that. And I think it's so important that you touched on the mental side of it. I mean, there's so many benefits to eating this way, and we'll get into exactly what it is. But yeah, I think when life gets tough and things hit you hard, it can be really easy to just fall off and be like, well, to hell with being healthy and kind of go down that bad path. And I know in the past, like before all this, you struggled with eating a lot of sugar
Yeah.
and it was ruining like your digestion. You had like acid reflux, and that seems to have gone away, which is a miracle because a
Yeah.
lot of doctors will be like, you can't heal it at all. So, do
Yeah.
you have an update there? Is that still going well?
Yeah. So I will say that when there was moments where I would stray, I'm a big pizza and Coke lover. So the crazy part is even just like one day of that, just that acid reflux comes raging back within a day. So for me, it was like, all right, this is not worth it. Like, how really, really good feels, and how really, really bad feels. And I don't want to get even close to really, really bad. So other than the little hiccups with some Coke and pizza over the summer, the reflux has stayed away. It's been nice. Like I struggle with it, I mean, chronically for probably like 12 years before changing up the food and the eating and all that. And I wasn't a big drinker. Like, doctors be like, well, you consume a lot of alcohol. And I'm like, no, like, I'm like, they're like, well, that's like the number one culprit. And I'm like, well, here's what I'm eating. And they still like, there are some triggers. They're like, hey, no red sauce or lay off tomatoes or stuff like that. And I'm like, that's not like the biggest part of my diet. So yeah, when we cleaned it up, it was like March of 2024, I think. You and I, she was sharing some stuff, and I was like, man, I'm like, if she's onto something. So yeah, since changing just to like that meat, protein, fat, like forward, it's non-existent when I'm on it.
Yeah, it's so wild. And yeah, I remember messaging you, I think it was a year or two ago, where I was like, dude, I figured it out. Like,
Yeah,
because I knew you were having like digestive stuff and you're always like open to like trying new stuff. And I'm like, I wonder
yeah,
if Heather's gonna think I'm crazy. But yeah, and we were talking just upping the steak and the ground beef and just protein forward, not being afraid of fat as women and just
yes,
really healthy fats, like you said, avocado, butter, fish, those types of things. But yeah, it's just focusing on those first. And then, like you mentioned, yes, carbohydrates, but there's a timing and the types that matter more. And I think eventually when you get to become an older female athlete, you start to experiment with that more. And I kind of approach this like very carefully now because first and foremost, like young girls struggle to eat enough as is. It's like, okay, first let's make sure everyone is eating enough and fed. And like there's things you can eat when you're at like a Wawa or Starbucks that are like good enough. So it's like
yep,
good, better, and then best. Like that's how
yeah,
I see it.
yeah,
But, you know, I think eventually female athletes and women, they get to a point where they're like, okay, there's some things going on here that I don't do as well with. And sometimes people realize it sooner than others. And I think for you and I, it was like a lot of the like high sugary like crackers, breads, pastas, like and it's like as soon as we like got rid of that, it's like okay, high energy, better digestion, clear skin, putting on insane muscle mass. I mean, like we've talked about the
yeah,
benefits in past episodes, but
yeah,
yeah, I think the types of carbs do matter eventually for people because
yeah,
insulin is a problem, blood sugar is a
yeah,
problem, and
yep.
like people can try and ignore that fact, but blood sugar issues are the root of a lot of problems in people.
And right now, like the stuff that is marketed towards young athletes is all just like you said, it's that high sugar, like crappy carb, and it's all processed. Like if you look at the ingredients of some of the stuff, you're like, what? I can't even pronounce that word. So it's like, yeah, finding like I'm a huge fan of the Relight from I can't say his name, but he's a doctor on Instagram. He's pretty well known. I think you follow him, but it's like the Redmond salt. That's what their electrolytes are made
Mhm.
of. So it's like there are other options out there. And I just had a really good conversation with an athlete who was like, hey, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm coming to training and I'm going right to goalkeeper training. Like, do you suggest, eating before I go to the goalkeeping stuff after this? And what should I be hydrating with? And she's 13 and she's a soccer player and she just started training with me over the summer and she's feeling the benefits of consistent strength training. And now the light bulb's going on, like, okay, now I need to fuel my body. So it was a really good conversation while we were in training. And I sent mom and dad some stuff. I was like, hey, this is kind of my mantra. This is what I believe. This is things that I would be taking. And I could send you some studies that show X, Y, and Z and whatever. And the parents were super receptive to it. And they sent me a screenshot of they ordered some of the Relight stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, because you never know those conversations if they're like, yeah, she's crazy, or hey, I'm going to take this into account because she hasn't steered us wrong in any way yet. So I, with training for High Rocks, my friend who's programming for me is programming a ton of sprint work. Like, and I haven't sprinted like that in a minute. Like, I was a long distance runner after college and that kind of stuff. I feel better than I felt in college. Like, so I know you can feel that. Like, I feel so good. Like, I just did 6 1,000-meter repeats at race pace last night. It would have buried me like 2 years ago doing that. I woke up today and I'm a little sore, but like my joints feel great. Like my Achilles feel awesome. My surgical knee, like no pain, nothing. And I like the biggest thing that I changed was the food. Like compared to the last time that I was high volume sprinting, and I felt like absolute crap. Like I felt broken, and I was 3 to 4 years younger than I am now. So it's like, you know, the timing of the carbs, the types of fats, the types of proteins, like it's huge.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, and that's another benefit is speed of recovery from hard workouts and then just the joint pain going away and also just putting on the muscle mass. I think you and I talked about this the other day. It's like even when we weren't training hard and we were doing this nutrition approach, like we didn't have to try hard to gain muscle. And that's why
Yeah,
I'm like, I feel like I cracked the code. Like it's
yeah,
like because so many girls and women think they have to kill themselves in the gym to like
yeah,
get this body. And I'm like, I'm here to tell you if you fuel with those nutrient dense foods and mainly whole foods,
yeah.
I would say 80% of the time for our teenage girls, you're going to be great. Like
Yeah.
you can't really go wrong. And I don't expect girls to be 100% perfect with nutrition. Things
Yeah.
happen. And I've talked to like my sprint coach, nutrition coach Cynthia, and she's like, look, like if you do the plan 100%, you will get the best results. But a lot of younger girls can get by with 80%, and that's
Yeah, for
fine.
sure.
Like we can be a little bit more lenient with our younger girls. And then when they get older, they can decide if they want to be like super high level and dialed in because, your high level pro college athletes, they're the ones who do every plan to the T.
100%. Yeah. Talking about killing yourself in the gym. I mean, I was one of them. Like literally 6 days a week, like heavy lifting. I mean, hour and a half gym sessions. And my nutrition, I wouldn't say it was crappy, but I was eating the way that I was taught to eat from college and on. And it's so much inflammatory responses from that stuff. And like, no matter how bad I killed myself, my body composition didn't really change. So it wasn't like good or bad, but it was like I'm doing all this and I'm not even seeing any benefits to it. Even before I was training for high rocks, like we talked about this, I think I was strength training like 3 times a week. And honestly, like coming back from the second meniscus tear, it slowed me down in the gym. But then my nutrition changed because I was all worried. I'm like, I'm gonna lose all my strength gains. Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna get them back and whatever. So slowing down in the gym and focusing on my nutrition, that was the cheat code. It was like, and I saw within maybe 8 to 12 weeks, I saw massive changes in my body, and I was like, this is all I had to do was enjoy eating and like
Yeah.
only work out 2 days a week. Like what? And I think I'm doing maybe 4 days a week right now. So it's like two strength-ish days and like a hybrid day and then a running day. So it's like, yeah, I still have good rest time. I feel great. Like the recovery, like you said, the shortened recovery time is amazing. It's kind of funny because like he programmed some crazy stuff, and I'm like, this is gonna bury me. I'm gonna be crap tomorrow. Like, no way. Like, and I would wake up and it'd be like I put my feet on the ground and I'd be like, okay, let's take a step. And I was like, oh, I feel great. I'm like, nothing hurts. Like, this is wild. So yeah, and this is actually a cute story. So I have an athlete. She's been training with me 3 years now. She's a soccer player. She's playing in college now. And I was pretty close with her mom. We would text back and forth, and she's like, continue talking about nutrition because I would bring in I'd have my eggs, my avocado, and my sausage in the morning, and I'd be training her. She'd always be curious, like, what is that? I'm like, I'd tell her, and she's like, she's not big into like all the protein stuff. And I'm like, and then we have the conversation. So it was like maybe a couple months ago, maybe it was a year ago. Gosh, my athlete sends me a picture of this perfectly cooked steak, and I was like, please tell me you're eating that. And she's like, it's not my first steak, but it'll be my first steak in a long time. She's like, so wish me luck. And I'm like, who cooked that? First of all, she's like, my dad. He's a big carnivore guy, and I was like, I love your dad. Um, so she's been regularly eating, red meats and stuff like that. I think it's been about a year, and then she sent me one right before she went off to school. Like it was like a steak dinner that had her dad had made, and whatever. But it was cool, and she's thriving right now. She scored her first career, college goal, game one. Like she started, and so it's just cool stories like that where you know you don't realize you're influencing someone even though you are, and especially in this way where it's like they're curious, right? Like, well, why are you eating that? That's just a bunch of meat. Like, where's your vegetables, where's your fruits? And well, like I still eat fruit, but I don't really eat a ton of veggies. Like it just didn't work for me. It's been cool having conversations with athletes in regards to like the food stuff.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Yeah, it's so awesome when you hear your athletes are starting to eat more steak and it's like yes, you're getting the iron, the creatine, all the B vitamin benefits. I mean, it is
Yeah.
really a multivitamin. And I tell girls, hey, if you can have it at least three, maybe four times a week, you are on the right track. So have your steak, have your burgers, like go crazy. It's
Yeah.
just so nutritious. And I think like when you and I started all this, like that was like the one change that we had made where we noticed the biggest improvement in energy and putting on lean muscle mass and feeling full and just like feeling really satisfied and not I don't know about you, but I just don't have sugar cravings anymore. I mean, it's been almost 2 years since I've
Yeah.
been doing this and I'll do like stuff during the holidays or a birthday because it's an event, like whatever, but just on a regular day, I don't really like think about like sugary things because I
Yeah.
enjoy eating like my burgers, my steak, my
Yeah. The savory. Yeah.
potatoes. Yeah. And then, like my macadamia nuts and blueberries and
Yeah.
all that. So, do you have any sugar cravings? Because I know you used to be pretty ravenous, like back in the
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just want to take a quick moment to shout out our sponsor, Simply Faster, and one of my favorite speed timing systems from them, the Freelap. I use it for my own sprint training as well as for my athletes, and they love it. It's super easy to set up, you can take it to the field on your own, and you can get accurate speed times to track your progress. Check the Freelap link in the caption below to start adding timing into your speed sessions. If you know me, you know I love my Freelap. If you're serious about speed, it's time to start timing.
I'd say lately, no. But I would say there was a point in the time in the summer where like I was running around with the girl, like my little ones, my 6 and 3-year-old, and we'd be at the beach and they'd want some ice cream, and I'd be like, little bite here and there, and then so as I reintroduced a little bit of that bad sugar, I definitely craved it. But then coming back to the, right back to the high fat, high protein, like no. When I'm on that specifically, there is none of that. And I'll say, like as you said, like as somebody who has a horrible sweet tooth, there's no worse feeling than that feeling of like, God, I just really need a hit of sugar. Like it's and it's frustrating mentally because it's like, man, you did so great for what, a solid year, and then just you let it back in a little bit, and it comes back like raging just as bad as before. So yeah, when I am on the protein and the fat, zero cravings, which is awesome. If anything, I crave like salt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just salt. So it's like have one of the electrolyte drinks, or I would do like a little charcuterie board kind of thing where I'm like, okay, that'll be my treat. And it's like I'm still fueling with great stuff and I'm not getting that negative effect of the sugar where it does. It makes you super tired. And for me, I would just beat myself up like, gosh, you don't need this. You don't need this. Like this is not it's not benefiting you in any way. So yeah, I'd say on the protein and fat diet, 100% don't feel it. When
Yeah.
I dabble, the kids have freaking ice cream. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah, but at least you know how to manage it, I
yeah,
think that's what this really helps with is even if you have a little bit of a deviation, you get right back on and we
yeah.
keep it moving. And that's what I love about it. It kind of allows you to just move on and just bring you back to like your routine and it's still stuff you enjoy eating every
Oh
day,
my god,
which is the beautiful part and it's
yeah,
very effortless and I always wonder, so like with your carbohydrates, you're still doing like rice,
yeah,
like
mhm,
different potatoes and stuff?
yeah.
Yeah.
So still big on jasmine rice, and I found this really good brand. I think it's called, I think it's Lundberg's. It's like regenerative, restorative, like the biggest, highest organic rice you could get. And it's not that rice was ever bad on my belly, but it tastes really good and like it's just so smooth. Like I could eat like 3 cups of rice with this stuff. Um, but yeah, I'll do rice. I'll do sweet. I'm big on like sweet potatoes. And my girls absolutely love sweet potatoes. Like they're hilarious. Like they'll eat theirs and then they'll start eating mine. And I'm like, whoa, I'm like, calm down here. Like I need mine too. And we'll do like regular baked potatoes too. Um, but I'd say those are my two staples. And then I have a friend who makes her own sourdough. So yeah, she's been making like a local wheat where like a pre-run or something. I'll do like her sourdough with a little bit of like that Kerrygold butter and then organic honey.
Yeah,
Um,
honey's a good one. Yeah.
it's super easy on my belly. Like, and I am not a bread person. What I've never been a bread person. Bread and pasta for me was like almost like torture, but it was jammed down our throats. Like, gotta eat pasta, gotta eat the bread before you play. And I was like, this always makes me feel like crap, but okay. Um, so I was a little weary on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna introduce bread again. Um, but it's been great. I mean, it's definitely helped me fuel some of those longer runs and some of those sprint runs that I've been doing. And again, my girls love it too. So that's another thing. I know we've touched on this in previous pods, but the girls they request steak. Like we call it steaky. Like, what do you guys want for dinner? And they're like steaky, and or they'll say like my little 3-year-old will point at me and she'll go, "I want whatever you're having, Mama." And I'm like, okay. Um,
Yes.
so I love that because as a kid myself, I was a horrible picky eater. Like, didn't want to eat any of that stuff. Like, I was like, it was basically like tacos and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and canned SpaghettiOs was my like go to.
Oh
So
my
for
gosh,
my girls,
SpaghettiOs. What a throwback.
right? Like
Yo,
I
those
was
were
so
like my
superstitious.
jam.
Yeah. I was like, I have to eat that before every game. Yeah. Um, but yeah, my girls like I'll make them breakfast in the morning and it's eggs and avocado and sausages. And it makes me feel good. So I know that like that's really good brain food for them. Bex is in first grade right now. And then Dakota just started pre-K3. So I want them to, start their day off like really amazing and they love it. So it's even more fun for me because I'm like, they want this stuff. It's like they don't want the, frozen waffles and frozen pancakes and stuff like that. Like they specifically like, I want eggies and cotto and sausage. And I'm like, oh,
Cotto,
give me just
please.
that. Yeah, yeah, they love it. I mean, and just a little bit of salt on it and like, oh,
Yeah.
so yeah, the kids have continued to kind of eat how I'm eating and I love that.
Oh, I love that. And that's such good brain food, like you said. I mean, just
Yeah.
those healthy fats and the amino acids and the choline content in eggs and like the salt for the hydration and getting the electrolytes so they actually absorb water.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good. And have you found like for both you and your girls that like big breakfast, that like fatty protein for breakfast with some strategic carbohydrates, whether it's like berries or fruit or maybe like a piece of sourdough bread or whatever you're doing, have you
Mhm.
found that the sustained energy is there throughout the day?
I would say so for sure, especially in the summertime. Like we would go, like I mean, gosh, like Wednesdays were my day off with them, and we would get up at 7, eat that big breakfast, and then we'd be literally all day. I don't think I'd come back to my house until like 9 at night, and we'd pack a bunch of stuff throughout the day. Like we were doing beach days, pool days, playground days, like um. So when we'd all would sit down for breakfast, I'd be like, no, we gotta, each of them got their own plate, and it was like maybe say we'd eat that around 8 o'clock. We wouldn't be hungry again until like 1 or 2. And I mean, we were going like, and when we play, we play like it's like you know we ain't sitting down. So yeah, they were high energy, excited about the day. Their general attitude was great. And they weren't begging me for snacks every 5 seconds. So I was like, ugh. That's the other thing. Gosh, man, kids can put some food away.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there is some days where and they're growing. They're both like I said, 6 and 3. But man, my little one, she loves apples. Like I would pack like 3 to 4 apples and a day. Like she'd be eating that, and I'm like, I don't know, is that good or bad? Like I don't know. Like they're organic apples, but definitely help sustain energy for those long summer days. Even now when Bex is in school, her school day is a little bit longer than it was last year. Just she's in first grade now. So yeah, and they get. I love this by the way. They get 2 recesses and 2 different snacks. Like her previous school, it was like 1 recess, 1 snack. Like, man, when I was a kid, we had like 2 recesses and they were like an hour long. So it was like 2 hours out of the day you're moving and stuff. So yeah, when I pick her up, like, what did you? Oh, recess was so much fun. We did this, da, 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 da," and I'm like, awesome. So yeah, and I love packing for lunch. It's literally like a mini charcuterie board. Like that's all she wants is like some of the cheeses, some of the meats. She loves like grapes and apples and stuff like that. So there's no like, just like when we were kids, it was like the pretzels and the chips and the processed stuff, and it was just like, I mean, it was good. I'm not gonna lie, but it didn't fuel us. Like, if anything, it just drained us. And it's like, at the time, you don't think that. But now as an adult, when you actually like, you can feel it and you have, that you're conscious of it. Yeah. So yeah, long story short, the energy is definitely there.
Yeah, and I think with all those snacks like that we grew up with, like the crackers, the pretzels, the Rice Krispies, even like some of the cereals, Lucky Charms, Cinnamon Toast
Yeah.
Crunch, it's like
Yeah.
we got away with it for a while, but then I think eventually teenage girls start to experience some things where they're like, okay, why do I have acne now? Why do I
Yeah.
have period pains? And let me tell you, it's not just because you're hormonal, like nutrition plays a part in a lot of this. And I was actually listening to something the other day, and it's a dermatologist, and she's also, I think she has a PhD in like biochemistry or something, but
Yeah.
she was basically saying that acne is based on insulin resistance and having crazy high blood sugar levels or blood sugar that's all over the place. And I think a lot of our teenagers are dealing with that, but then they don't make the nutrition connection and they resort to like Accutane, and then that makes their depression worse because there's so many side effects, or it makes their pain worse because it causes a lot of muscle issues. So it's like if people can just like really dial in on their nutrition, it is going to reap so many benefits in the end for our teenage girls. And like skin health is a big thing a lot of them struggle with. Mental
Huge.
health is mental health too, and it
Yep.
all connects. And
It
it's
does.
just being a teenager is hard enough. Like,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like if we can just help our girls to learn the foods that have the most nutrient density to them, that give the fuel for their performance, then they're going to solve a lot of issues, a lot of underlying issues. And
Yep.
now I look back and I'm like, dang, like I wish I knew about this in high school because I really struggled with red skin and acne, and I got
Same.
so insecure, and it really messes with your confidence. And then the period pains weren't great, and those continued in college for me, and I never could
Yep.
really figure it out. And everyone was like, oh, it's just normal, but now
This
I'm
is what
like,
we do.
no, it's not. And now it's a breeze. And I know you have said similar things as far as
Yep.
hormonal stuff, but
Yep.
yeah, I just don't think people are making the nutrition connection. And when, I hate on like certain like dietitians that are recommending all these high sugary snacks, it's for those reasons because girls
Right.
want answers and they're having unsolved symptoms that they can't explain. And I'm like, well, it's the frickin' you're hitting the pastas too hard, and like maybe have some sweet potatoes or make your own fries at home and put some butter on it. And it's like there comes a point where you have to figure out, okay, I need to maybe be more disciplined here if I want to solve some issues.
1,000%. I have a friend who has an 11-year-old, and she's constantly having the conversation of like, it's not about the skincare. It's not about like what you're putting on your skin, all the things that you think. It's directly tied to what you're putting in your mouth. And she's mom, so 11-year-old kind of rolls her eyes like, okay, mom, whatever. Um, but it's sinking in a little bit. But like, yeah, kids as young as like 11 are talking about skincare, and I'm just like, what? Like, first of all, you're 11. Like, the skincare thing shouldn't be a thing. I mean, if you want to put some
It's
lotion on and put a
crazy.
yeah, and then like to hear her just be like, "Hey, it's what you're putting in your mouth." It's like, okay, so there are parents out there that are educated and are having these conversations. I think I was fortunate enough. My mom was pretty health conscious. I mean, we still had our little vices, like I said, the bags of chips and stuff like that. And I wouldn't say I didn't struggle with acne, but I definitely struggled with a little bit of rosacea. But for me, it was like the puffiness that came with all those foods. Like, I look
Mhm.
back at pictures in high school and stuff, and I'm just like, man, like I had a chubby face, and I think my body was never, I was always pretty lean and skinny, but my face was always just puffy, and it always bothered me. Like you said, you're self conscious about it a little bit, and I'll say probably when I was maybe like 30, 31 is I started really diving into the food a little bit more. But I would say in the last 2 years, like since we've made these dietary changes, like the major ones, the amount of times somebody would be like, man, your face is just really lean. And for me, being a kid who was self conscious about a chubby face back in the day, I was like, oh, I love hearing that. Like, please, thank you. Um, and then they'll ask, like, the amount of conversations I've had with my adults on, because they've seen me over the last 5, 6 years. I would say most notably last summer and then over the winter time, just making comments like, "God, man, how are you getting so lean? How are you getting?" And I'm like, "It's what I'm eating. It's what I'm eating." I'm like, "I know y'all don't want to hear that, but and a lot of our adults struggle just they want to have a drink when they get home from work and stuff like that. And I'm like, alcohol's not your best friend. Like, cut that out too." And the one guy, he's very open to the conversation, but he's very cholesterol like driven. And
Mm,
when I'm telling him the amount of red meat that I'm eating, he's just like, "Oh my God, your cholesterol." And I'm like, last time I got it tested, my cholesterol was really normal. And
same.
I haven't changed anything. Like I eat a ton of eggs, I eat a ton of steak, red meat, and he's like, "Man," he's like, "I really want to do it, but my doctor's so against it." And I'm just like, and I'm like, "Look, I can't, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you, what or what not to do. I can just tell you my experience alone has shown me this." Um, I'm like, and maybe you're not doing red meat every day. I was like, maybe it's twice a week and then get your cholesterol tested, see what's going on. Um, so yeah, I mean, some of these conversations with the whole spectrum, right? The 11-year-olds to the 50, 60-year-olds is really cool, and it's like it's cool that they're curious about it. So I'll send them a couple things, and I think some of them have adopted some of the principles, but I still think people are just like, "Man, I can't understand how you're not eating vegetables." I'm just like, I'm just not like, I'm not affected by it. Like, for me, they cause major digestive problems and inflammation. And yeah, I just, don't miss that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about the plants if you were doing plants, but guess
Yeah,
not. But you are doing avocado, so there you
yeah,
go. That
yeah,
counts.
avocado. And like,
Yeah.
um, back in, here in Ohio, it's cherry tomato season is in the summer. And I love cherry tomatoes. And they're so bad for me on so many levels, but I don't care sometimes. And I'll get them from like a local farmer's market or whatever, and I'll just put some salt on them and eat them. But again, like it's like my acid reflux comes back. I definitely feel like the puffiness from the inflammation. But yeah, so I'd say the last time I had something plant based, probably at one of my sister's cookouts, where you have your traditional cookout foods.
Mhm.
And it was like this salad that we used to eat, and I was like, all right, I'll have it. Mm-mm. My stomach the next day.
Oh no.
It was like 2 days where it's just like, holy crap, like, okay, nope, we're done, like, can't do that.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and I wouldn't say that I'm anti-veggies, like, there are some
No,
that
I'm not either.
you can
Yeah.
definitely supplement with, but just based on my experience, there's ones that I will always just stay away from now on. Yeah.
Like kale and spinach.
Yeah, kale, spinach, there's, like, the heavy
The dark
greens.
leafy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just tear me up, like,
I think people just overdo them. Like they just
yeah.
have like huge bowls of spinach and
Oh,
tons of spinach in a smoothie every day. And it's
yeah,
like too much of anything can be bad. And I
yeah.
will say, I do some vegetables, and I actually do well with asparagus every now and then, and
Yeah.
like a side Caesar salad and cooked. It has to be cooked. It can't be raw. Cooked Brussels sprouts and cooked broccoli, but in a very small amount. I mean, vegetables should be a side. And then you keep your meat the main thing, the main thing. Like it's not like vegetables are just a side piece.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it doesn't
100%.
need to be a huge bowl. Yeah, I just do like a fistful size,
Yeah,
and it's been fine, but I don't do it like all the time because I feel pretty good. But
yeah,
yeah, it's interesting, and I think everyone is different, but I think in
for sure.
general most people do very well with nutritious foods that have a
Mhm.
lot of vitamins and minerals, and they keep you full, they give you energy. Like that's really the message here. And I think
Yep,
people just need to find, okay, what brings my energy up, what helps me to put on muscle mass easily, what helps me to recover faster, and for the ladies listening, what helps my period pains.
yep,
That
100%.
I think if you can figure out those things with your nutrition and nail those down, then you're on a darn good plan.
Yeah, and you just feel good. I mean, it just changes your whole mood, like, and I'll say, like I said, before like 2 years ago, right, when we started all this, I just achy in general. I mean, my whole body just achy, and I would just continue to beat it up, whatever. So for me, my whole and my friends can attest to this, my whole attitude has changed, like, um where I'll do a really hard training session. Like I'm saying like eight, eight-ish on the RPE. And in my brain, I'm like, man, I'm gonna be tired and hurting tomorrow. Like I'm gonna pay for this. And when I would wake up and I'd be like, I feel good. Like in the beginning, I was like, all right, what's the catch here? Like, when am I gonna go back to like that old achy body? And it just never happened. And I'm like, man, it's 1000% what I've been putting in my body. Like, I didn't change anything else. Like, and my workouts only got more intense because it's trained for high rock. So it's like high volume, like endurance, stuff like that, where it would bury me. Like 2 years ago, that would have buried me. And it's like multiple days. Like I just finished, like today's a rest day. And I kept telling my friends, I'm like, I am so happy that it's a rest day because like the last 2 days have been brutal. Like, we're like, it takes a lot for me to dread a workout. And these last two, I'm like, God, I just don't want to do it. Um, but I woke up yesterday, I felt great. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can, and sometimes I'm doing it in between my coaching sessions. So I'll coach for 2 hours,
Oh
go out,
gosh.
six 1,000-meter sprints at race pace, and then go back to coaching for another 2 hours. And I feel fine. And I'm just like, and I'm 39, like, and I've been an athlete my whole life, extreme sports to like soccer and running. And again, up until 2 years ago, I just always felt beat up. But the stubborn side of me is like, no, you're always just going to do this. You're always going to keep training. It doesn't matter, whatever. So yeah, like finding this cheat code on how to eat, it just has really changed. I mean, it's changed my life, which is crazy to say, but it really has. Like, very thankful that you started this. Like, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
and that's why you're back on because we've
yeah,
kept up with it because it's sustainable because it's
yeah,
like you have so much energy throughout the day and like the joint pains are gone, the digestive issues are gone, the skin's
yeah,
clearing up and it's like I don't feel any need to go back and
yeah,
that's why we're doing these check-ins like a couple years later. It's like we're still
yeah,
here, we're still going, we're keeping it moving. And look, like you just basically said that you're just plowing through just unlimited energy and
yeah,
you're not only a strength coach. I mean, we know how crazy the strength coach life is, but you're
yeah,
a mom of two girls. You're
yep,
training for an extreme sport. And here you are, probably during your lunch break, hopping on a freaking
yeah,
podcast, like
yep,
with
yep,
more energy than ever. So it's like,
yeah.
guys, like there's something to this. And
It really
yeah,
is. It really
it's
is.
crazy. But let's talk about your coaching a little bit.
Yeah.
I have sessions coming up soon, but in season, I know you work with a lot of girls soccer players who play in the ECNL or the GA and higher leagues, and they're practicing 3 to 4 days a week.
Yep.
But I know you have a good core group of girls who train in season, they make it in, and they're
Yep.
thriving. So, can
Yep.
you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So I will say, like, the bulk of my girls who have been training with me or with some of my coaches at T3 for the last, 3 to 4 years, they're in college now. So now we're having a new wave of younger athletes come in. But I really want to talk about the ones that are in college right now. We've got girls at OSU, we've got girls at Notre Dame, Florida State, some bigger name schools, and not only were they trained year round with us from a strength and conditioning standpoint, I'm saying like 1 to 2 days a week of like a 90-minute session. But we would have some that would come in at 6 a.m. to do their own ball work. So you think about that, like they're doing their ball work at 6 a.m. before school, and then they're coming to us after school, or they're going to one of their ECNL practices. So like you said, 3 to 4 days a week, they've got soccer, soccer, soccer. Then they're coming to see us 1 to 2 days a week, on top of coming in at 6 a.m. and just the skill work that some of these girls would do. I would just be like, man, that is, I can applaud it. It's just such dedication. But that being said, like they are all super healthy. They're thriving. We have a girl right now, I'm going to name drop, but Tessa Knapp at Notre Dame. She's a freshman and she's starting and she's getting like 60 minutes a game. She scored I think she has two of her collegiate career goals as a freshman. I mean, like, I think they're number one in the country, maybe.
They're up there.
They're
Yeah.
up there. She shared something. But yeah, and then we've got, another one at Florida State, Sophia Sindelar, again, and they're very focused on their food as well. Like Sophia particularly, like we had great conversations over the summer about what she was eating and how she felt and all that stuff. And it was, lots of protein, lots of fat, stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I'm like, all right, you get it. and they would train year round. I mean, there was no break in when they would come in, whether it was, their fall season when they were either playing high school or their annual, ECNL program all the way through, like never missed a beat. Someone come in before practice and it's like they definitely eliminate that stigma of like, I'm doing too much. I'm going to be too tired. I'm going to be too beat up. And it's like, no, if you train the body and you can adapt to these stressors, you can do it and you should be doing it with proper fueling and all that. I mean, I definitely listen to your body. Like, and there'd be a couple times that some of them would come in and be like, hey, my heel's bugging me today, or, I've got a little bit of a shin splint, and we would address it, but they never missed. Like, I'll preface that. They always came because we can, as a strength coach, like we should be able to work around that. Whether it was, hey, we're gonna do a little bit more banded work, or we're gonna put you on the bike, or something like that to get them warm and ready to go. Never miss a day though. And I have a couple right now that are doing that, and they're pretty consistent at least one day a week with me, and then I'll send them a home program because it's great. Like more people, at least more often than not now, have like somewhat of a home gym. Um, and it's great. Whether it's a couple dumbbells and some bands and med balls, like it goes so far with that. And even like you share some of the stuff that you do, like the speed prep stuff, like landing and jumping on a single leg, like that kind of stuff. People just they overlook that, and it's huge. I mean, again, you don't have to beat yourself up in the gym to be a consistently good athlete. So yeah, and like my one athlete I was talking about who shared, the picture of her steak, she was coming to see me every Wednesday at 6 a.m. And I miss it now because she's in college. But yeah, for 2 years straight. And then she would hop into a session, in the afternoon when she could. But yeah, she's thriving. She's the fastest on her team. They clocked her at like, something crazy like 24 miles an hour.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she's an outside, she's an outside wing or outside mid. So it's like, it's advantageous to be fast. But we would put her on the woodway, like that treadmill that goes up to like 25 miles an hour. I mean, that thing would chew your hamstrings up and spit it out. She'd come back the next day and be like, "No, I feel great." And I'm like, "All right, like that's awesome." I just hope that through like your messages and the stuff that you're sharing, it it starts to eliminate that, like, and they can see like you can do it and you should be doing it. It's just gonna elevate everything else that you're doing.
Yeah, that's such a good point too about how like there's this stigma that they're going to be overdoing it if they add in the strength. But like you said, it just prepares them better for the stressors within practices and the games, and they can recover faster and do more high intensity work. And like you said, as long as they're with a good strength coach who can really program smartly in season, then they're going to be fine. They're not going to be overdoing anything. And I think the 1 to 2 times a week is great for girls who want to ease into it. Yeah, start with one time, but once you get into a good habit with one time, then yeah,
Yeah,
maybe up it to two. That would be
right.
fantastic. So, yeah, I think the in-season work is so important, and it is crucial if these girls want to play at the Division 1 level, like the Notre Dames, the Florida States, like some of
Yeah,
your girls are going to. I mean,
yep,
because you're going to be in season strength training with your strength coach, in season speed training. You're going to be having 2 games a week, practices 3 to 4 days a
yep,
week. So
yep.
it's like you got to get into good habits now, and you got to make sure your muscles are prepped for that going in.
Yeah, and I like what you said. It's like you're preparing for the physical demands of that sport. And at the Division 1 level, like it's demanding. I mean, you could easily get beat up within the first 2 weeks of preseason. Like if you come in not ready, like good luck. Like it's not going to feel great. And yeah, I really love stressing to parents like the value of the strength work is like you can from an in-season perspective, right? We can do all this great work, 4 months out of their preseason, and they're great, and then it's like, oh, we can't train in season. It's like, okay, well, you're going to be great the first half of your season because we prepared
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
The second half of your season, you will see some diminishing results, like
And
whether
you'll
it's
get slower.
yeah, or
Yeah.
100%. Like it's like I wish there was more, like, I don't want to say data, but like data that you could just share and be like, look, this is your kid who trains in season, and these are the metrics that we've tested and whatever. And how do you feel versus the kids that don't? And like, how do they feel? What do their metrics look like? Like, not from a soccer perspective, but we had a kid, he's a baseball kid. He trained relentlessly in season. I mean, like like almost to the point where I was like, maybe you are doing a little too much. He kept PRing on his flying tens, on his like we do these top tests on the bald force decks, and he would literally PR, and we're just like, you are a playbook. Like, we need to write a book on exactly what you did. Ton of college scouts looking at him. Like, it was not, he had the best spring season that he's ever had. I mean, like, set records at his school. And we were all just in awe. And we've all been training him since he was in like fifth grade. He's gonna be a senior now. But it was just like he was in, I want to say, 3 to 4 times a week in season. And
Wow.
again, our velo coaches are programming for him and all that stuff. So it's like definitely have to have a strength coach who is knowledgeable and understands, all that stuff. But it was really cool to see, like, every week our velo coach would send us, like, he hit like 2 grand slams in 1 week. And you're just like, wow, So it's like you see that kid. And if I were a kid looking at him, I'm like, what are you doing? I want to do what you're doing. And his family's really good about what they're eating and all that stuff. So yeah, it's not rocket science, guys. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and I think in-season strength training is going to be everyone's competitive advantage nowadays.
huge.
In all
Yes.
honesty, it's like if you have like your teammates who are just training in the summer for 2 months and then they don't do anything for the other 10 months and their muscles get weaker, they become less explosive, their speed goes down. It's like, well, if you're in season training 1 to 2 times a week consistently, in those 10 months they're not doing jack, then
Right.
yeah, that's your competitive advantage.
Love that. I
And
love that you said that.
yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. And then coming back to the college thing, it's like when you go into college as a freshman, you are physically competing against 21-year-olds
Right. Yeah.
and sometimes older
Yeah.
than that because of graduate
100,
students.
100%.
So
Yep.
it's like, guys, I mean, I can't believe I still have to like persuade people to do in-season training, but it is so
Mhm.
important now more than ever, especially with how more physical college has gotten and how
Yeah.
more demanding the girls' ECNL is getting. So
Oh,
even if you
1000.
practice 4 times a week with your ECNL team, you still need to strength train. You're not overdoing it. Just find someone who can smartly program sets and reps.
100%. Yeah, the competitive advantage. Like, I'm gonna use that. I love that. Yeah.
You can take it. I just came up
Yeah.
with it. I don't know. It
Yeah.
must be the
No, I
healthy fat.
love
It must be
that.
the healthy fats I'm eating. My
Yeah.
brain's
Yeah.
like on
You got
fire right now.
brain power. Yeah. But I
Yeah,
love that. Like, just saying, like, hey, you want the competitive advantage, training in season is your competitive advantage. I mean, it truly is. Like, there's
it
no lie in
is.
that. Like, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it is because everyone's muscles are atrophying, potentially risking soft tissue injuries or some like minor setbacks.
Yep.
So that's setting them back even more. And
Yep.
then you're just over here building, 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 getting your
Yep.
strength numbers up, getting ready for college, still doing your in season speed. And you're just thriving by the time the end of the season comes or that big showcase comes and everyone else is like falling apart.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's your competitive advantage, guys. And
Love
I'm
that.
I'm about to train some in-season girls, so
There you go.
we're gonna do our thing now. But Heather, I
Yep.
mean, I could talk for like 5 hours
I
here
know.
because there's so much to discuss, but we'll have you back on again. We
Yeah.
always
I love
do.
it.
So yeah, thank you for coming on and I'll see everyone next time.